Dude, there is nothing like putting together a new AR build, getting take it out to the range. What's up, Jason?
What's up, man?
Check out my new self-defense build here, man.
Self-defense?
Yeah.
No light, no laser, no...
KISS, man. Just everything I need right here.
I hear you.
In fact, that looks a little bit busy over there. I mean, you really need all that stuff?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about it. Self-defense builds, budget versus Boujee. Hey everybody, welcome back to Classic Firearms. I'm Matt, and with me today,
Jason, what's going on, guys?
So today we are going to talk about low versus high budget self-defense builds and why you would make certain decisions when you're outfitting your self-defense build depending on what your target budget is. So of course I have the low end budget and you have a higher end budget.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. So the goal here for the low budget is to keep the entire build under $1,000 and effectively you have no limit.
I don't know. I mean, there is a limit. I mean, the budget on this is, it's up there. So
significantly higher than $1,000. Yeah. So what we have here is we went with a Radical Firearms AR-15 and 5.56. I have a Swamp Fox Tomahawk 1 LVPO. So this is a 1-to-4 power. And then we have Magpul Sling. And I felt like this was the basis of putting together a complete and in that it is useful self-defense package. Okay. Certainly there are other steps that we could take, right, but when you look at trying to keep everything within the budget allowed, there's probably still a little bit of room here for adding a few things, and we'll talk about that. But certainly I feel like Radical Firearms is a good baseline AR-15 when you're looking at kind of an entry-level rifle. It's not going to have as many features or the finish performance of a higher price rifle, like if you're looking at like a BCM or higher LMT, that kind of thing. But it is going to get the job done, especially when you look at kind of again that intro market, something you're going to start training with, and then maybe you can decide to make changes or upgrade from there later. We went with the Swamp Fox Tomahawk 1 because again, as an LVPO, it has a 1-to-4 power, so you have kind of close-in capability with an unmagnified perspective, but you can get up to 4 power. So if you want to reach out to a little bit to kind of some moderate ranges, you still can. And of course, 5.56 is great for several hundred yards, really. So if you can reach out to say 150, 200, maybe at the reach with that 4 power,
you can get 500 yards out of that. Easy.
I mean, I would want something with a little bit more magnification than that, but sure. I mean, the round will do it. Again, I always think a sling is important for self-defense rifle because there are going to be times where you want to go hands off the rifle, and this will maintain it to your body, as well as just retaining the rifle to your body in case there was ever maybe a struggle. A couple things that I would upgrade using the kind of remainder of my budget, if I had some, is being left-handed. Personally, I would want to go with an ambi safety and an ambi charging handle, or at least a charging handle with a larger lever on it. Also possibly an extended bolt release. I really like the Maritime from Geisley.
Yeah, that works.
Because it just gives me a lot more of a target when I'm trying to manipulate that with my left hand from the shooting position. Obviously you could go with something like a light. That would probably be the number one most important upgrade. The problem is, of course, keeping it within budget because quality lights do cost a little bit of money.
A little bit, depends on where you go.
Yeah. So when you're talking about this, again, we're kind of an MSRP of around $250 for the scope, around $500 for the rifle. We don't have a lot of room to play with when it comes to adding additional parts. Probably about $50 for the sling. But I would definitely say a flashlight would probably be one of your number one contenders for your first upgrade, as well as if you wanted to, you could have something like an angled foregrip or a vertical foregrip down here. But yeah, I think that within that $1,000 budget, this rifle gets you everything you need to get out there, start training, and be prepared to defend yourself.
Yeah, as an entry level, I think that's a good way to go, man. For real.
So what about if you had a little bit more money?
Well, if you got a little bit more stuff to play with, and please, let me just say this, I am not a snob like that. I just like good things and how they come together. Obviously, I've got a little bit more invested in this. I mean, it did start out bare bones, and I just kind of upgraded over time. I didn't just do this overnight. Everything I needed to play with, and it needed to serve a purpose for me. So I'm a little bit bigger, I'm taller, I like my heads up, display a little bit higher. So I got this LCO with this Unity riser. The reason why is I like a little bit more heads up display shooting, that's just me. And plus, with this LCO, it gives me all of EOTech field of view with that one MOA crisp dot, and that just works good for me. As well, I have a laser and light combo because for me, I set up all of my guns for in case I have to use it at night or underneath night vision. Plus, you can use the visible laser if you want to during the day, but not my style. I've got the Steiner CQB-L1 hooked up to the Unity Axon switch, which actually fires the Surefire Vamp Light and the CQB-L1 at the same time to essentially give me a PEC. The reason why I went this way instead of just getting a PEC 15, I wanted to cut down on the weight. Normally I run everything suppressed as well, so this little mini up front does the job, keeps it nice, well and balanced and maneuverable in and out, so that's works for me.
Not a ton of extra weight out
here.
Yeah,
Exactly. It still suppresses, so that's the thing. And of course with 5.56, you're never gonna get full hearing safe suppression, but at least it'll be better than nothing, that's for sure. I like my ears. This little Railscales vert grip here, this is the the polymer version. I didn't get the $150 one that's made out of aluminum, so I went
saving some money somewhere.
I saved some money there, right? And then honestly, just a sling. Edgar Sherman sling hooked up to this, and that's pretty much it, along with the HRF Magwell, which costs $40. So I mean, this costs the laser costs a little money, the optic costs a little money, but realistically, take those away, and I'm sitting pretty decent. Right?
So one of the things I think is really impressive about the rifle, and the difference between my rifle, which is a package we put together kind of for the video, and thought process of what I would put together for a lower cost intro rifle package versus yours, which is your personal firearm, is you can see the well-earned wear from taking this out and actually shooting. And I think that is definitely a takeaway, is regardless of if you have the money for something like this or the money for something like this, you need to make sure to go out and actually practice and train with your firearm, because spending no amount of money is going to get you the effect that you want in a self-defense situation. If you are running into this without the experience or training, you're going to be less effective than someone who took this out and spent 1,000 hours with it.
Right.
So definitely make sure that one thing is, regardless of what your budget is for the rifle, make sure you're budgeting time and money for the training aspect.
Yeah, I don't have any safe queens, folks, so sorry.
Now, I would say, I gave some ideas of what I would upgrade. What would you say you could take off of this if somebody was trying to make it a little bit more budget?
So a little bit more budget friendly. Obviously, I love the optics system on here, and that's my primary way because I don't have backup irons on here because I'm working with limited rail space due to being an SBR. You don't need this laser, per se. You don't. You can shoot under nods passively, and you can shoot, obviously, using white light. So this laser could go. The suppressor, I don't want to say this, but it can be off, but when you're in enclosed doors, just know that there's going to be a lot of concussive blast from a short barrel rifle. That's about it. Other than that, everything is pretty much identical. You said you would add a light, so I mean, the light on here is here, and so everything else is kind of under a $50 mark, give or take. Even the sling is under $50, so
all right.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that is an idea of what we would put together for a more expensive self-defense build versus a more budget or intro kind of starter set of a AR build. Tell us, again, I know we have our Bust Your Build series, so if you have builds, by all means send them in. We are happy to take a look at them and applaud or boo as appropriate.
We give soft critiques unless you put something crazy.
What would you think if somebody sent in this?
Honestly, this would probably get like a 5.5, 6 to me, just missing a light, and that's pretty much it. You don't need rail scales or anything on here. The handguard's good enough. It's free floating, so yeah, about a 6.5.
See, I mean, again, so we're not trying to denigrate the idea of it being lower cost. I mean, there are people of every budget out there, and so certainly, you have to fit within what your means are. And I think that, again, this is going to serve you well. And one of the great parts about AR-15s is the fact that all of the parts are modular. Modular, basically. Like, you can learn to get these parts repair or replaced, upgraded. Even people do that at home, which is why, if you think you're getting close to shooting out the barrel of your rifle, you could replace the barrel. If you want to change this handguard, you change the handguard. You want a different optic or a muzzle device or grip, trigger, safety, whatever. You can get all of those things changed out on your rifle. And so you could definitely start with something like this, and eventually your rifle will, not this, because there's a difference in the operating system, but you can get close to this.
You can get close to this. Just a little time.
So yeah, that's another great thing to keep in mind is that you're not stuck with this
No.
if this is where you start. You can upgrade over time and move towards something that is a little bit more high end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a great kind of covering of the topic. Where do you guys come in when it comes to your rifles? Do you fall more on the less is more, spend a little bit less per build and have a lot of builds, or do you want to put all your money into one build? Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, comment section go wild, man. We want